Hello everybody, I'm Sarah Banks from Banks' Business Solutions, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing the second part of my story of what led me to start my business. So back in 2014 I was just returning to work in a 3-day-a-week role from following maternity leave after the birth of my second daughter. I was still breastfeeding her. She hated bottles. And between expressing milk throughout the day, cluster feeding her at night and working 3 days a week, I was absolutely exhausted. Within a few weeks of being back at work, I had my first ever bout of mastitis. And for anyone that has ever suffered from mastitis, you know how ill that makes you feel. In my delirious state after a full day at work, I actually managed to lock my 1-year-old daughter in the car at nursery. That was a real wake-up call to me that things needed to change. Our current lifestyle wasn't working for us, and me being back at work wasn't the right thing. However, once I was well again, I went back to work, and I knew I needed to work, so I kind of thought very little of it. And a few weeks later, at a school event, another mum who has her own business mentioned to me that she needed some support on an ad hoc basis. This planted a little seed in my mind, and whilst off work again, this time with tonsillitis, which is something that I kind of do suffer with when I get quite stressed out, I decided I was going to start researching this. I had no idea whether it was possible to provide any sort of freelance administrative work to businesses, but this seed was there and it was growing in my mind that actually if I could do this, I could work it around my family and make life better for us all. So I discovered that there was this role or profession or whatever you want to call it, kind of called virtual assistants. It seemed to be very American. There was very little information about being a virtual assistant in the UK. What is fantastic now is that there are some brilliant champions of the VA industry in the UK and some great support for those that are thinking of starting up. But back then there wasn't. So I read as much as I could about becoming a virtual assistant and what I needed to do. I found an online course about starting a business that was quite low cost. Thought, yep, brilliant, I'm going to do that. That's going to really help me think more about what I need as a business owner. Did I get it right at the start? No. I didn't have everything in place that I probably should have had in place, but I decided that I'd then spend the next few weeks, months, really starting to plan my business. I remember many an evening sat with my husband over a glass of wine talking about business names and logos, and I have to say that I have him to thank for the logo that I ended up with for my business, which is a clock with a hand. And at the time when I started my business, I had a tagline which was taking admin, giving time, and that kind of lended itself nicely to the design of the logo, which we did have designed professionally. I bought a domain and registered myself with HMRC as self-employed. Word of warning to all of you, I did that on the 4th of April, which was a mistake because I then had to do a tax return for that financial year, having not actually really been in business. So that was fun, but thankfully I have a fantastic accountant that has helped me with that. From that point on, I was busy thinking about what I needed for my business, what processes I needed, what systems I needed in place. What would I need to take on a client? Well, insurance, that was a definite, so I got some insurance. Contracts, which were at that point in time I found really difficult to find contracts from the UK, but managed to find some that were within my budget and that worked very well for me for a number of years. And deciding how I was going to find clients. Now, I'd been putting some odd posts on my personal Facebook about what I was doing, and my first client actually came from an acquaintance that I had through Facebook. She actually ran the hypnobirthing company where I had done my hypnobirthing classes with both my eldest and youngest daughter. She taught the class for my youngest daughter. So she asked if she could have a chat with me, and I remember sitting in my car at lunchtime at work on the phone to her, hearing her talk about the support that she needed and systems like WordPress and MailChimp. And I remember sitting there thinking, I don't actually really know what these systems are. I'm sure I can learn them, but what are these things? And then going home and researching what they were so that I could put her a proposal together and work out whether or not I could support her. Having never really known what WordPress was, I made the decision that if I was going to need it to support this client, I better go and learn it. So I used Google and my own intuition and built my very first website in WordPress for my own business. That website served me really well for my first couple of years, and then as my skills developed, I've built the website that I have now. It was quite a busy time, really, exploring what I needed and what I needed to do. But I was really pleased that that client, potential client I'd spoken to in my car, signed up with me in the May, and I was working with her from May whilst working in my job and looking after my children, and all the other things I was doing. And I quickly signed up another client. So by the time that I actually left my job at the end of September, I had 3 regular clients, 2 short-term projects, and was ready to go, really. But I do remember that first day working from home after I'd given up my paid job. I dropped my eldest daughter at school and my youngest at the childminders, sitting down at my desk and thinking, oh my gosh, what do I actually do now? Do I know how to run a business? Do I know what I need to do for my clients? And can I make this a success? Well, I'm still here today, so it did work. I didn't have it all right to begin with. I didn't register for data protection to start with, which I should have done, and I'm now registered for data protection. My contracts weren't ideal and probably not legally binding when I started. Thankfully, they are now. I didn't do any bookkeeping work anyway, but had no idea about this AML, anti-money laundering thing that you'll often hear virtual assistants and bookkeepers and accountants talk about with HMRC. And I didn't really have any training other than this online course that I bought. So a lot of what I did was based on what I felt was right. My rates were lower than they should be, and I quickly realised that I couldn't actually cover the overheads of my business with those rates. So I did learn a lot of lessons along the way. And certainly for those of you that are new to starting a VA business now, I would definitely say work with the likes of VIPVA to get that support, to make sure that you know what you need. There are some great communities out there now in the UK to support you. But I'm really pleased that I was able to get to the point that I'm at, and that I can now share with you the journey that I've had. I hope that this has been helpful and interesting to you. I am going to be sharing more about my VA journey in some more videos for over the rest of April. So please do check those out, and I hope you'll join me on another video soon. Bye for now.